Hey everybody, what's going on? I am Gregg Sussman, joined today by Davis Mattek of SportsGrid, who's here to give us his top three picks through Sweet 16 as the madness rolls on. What's going on, Davis?
Not a lot going on. It's been a fantastic couple of days of the tournament. Pretty much what everyone said. There is a lot of upsets. There were clearly some missed seedings, right? Loyola Chicago, way too low. Oral Roberts. We have, I believe that I saw this was the first tournament ever where every double-digit seed has won a game other than a 16 seed, which is that's it's pretty good. And it's been there's been some enjoyable basketball. There's been some bad basketball also, but overall it has been pretty enjoyable.
Bad basketball doesn't mean non-enjoyable basketball. Let's just leave it at that. You're right. That stat is actually crazy. That one of every seed other than 16 has won a game in this tournament, showing you the parity in college basketball, especially in this shortened college basketball COVID season. Now, you mentioned Loyola, a team that everybody looked at their brackets. This isn't right. They are better than this. And then you go into who they played, and maybe they weren't. But it's clear the Fighting Sister Jeans shouldn't have been seeded as an 8 seed. I believe that the Illinois Fighting Illini will definitely agree with you. They get back to the Sweet 16. Porter Moser has his team on the brink of advancing again. And you kind of believe that they're going to here, Davis. You're in on Loyola Chicago, -6.5 to win in the Sweet 16, getting to the Elite Eight. Why do you believe once again?
Well, mostly I just believe in Loyola Chicago. I mean, they dispatched one of the top, 5 teams in the country, right? And really without a problem. Like, there was not very much drama in that Illinois Loyola Chicago game. They pretty much controlled it the entire time. Loyola Chicago is the number 9 team in Ken Palm's ratings, right? Adjusted offense, adjusted defense. Oregon State is 50th in Ken Palm's adjusted efficiency stuff. And let me just say, I watched every second of that Oklahoma State-Oregon State game. They could have lost that game, right? It got to a 2-point game, and Oklahoma State should have taken a timeout, should have kind of caught their breaths and redone their game plan, and they didn't. And they were launching bad shots, and Oregon State has been great through the 2 games they played. I'm not trying to take anything away from them. I'm not trying to say they don't deserve to be here. But to me, Loyola Chicago, not only can they win this game, I think that pretty much they can match up against anyone other than maybe Gonzaga, right? Their defense is so structured and so good, and they have such an organized offense. I think that's the thing I like the most about Loyola Chicago is as a college offense, they're so organized and they have a plan on every possession. So even with the 6.5 points, which is a lot in March, I am going to lay the points.
I like a lot of what you said there, Davis. Loyola Chicago, they're just a very, very organized and well-coached team by Porter Moser. You saw them in the first round against Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech shot over 55% from the field, and it didn't feel like it was really close at any point for Loyola. And then certainly the case was the same against Illinois with how good that defense was. A strong defense, a smart offense. You're in a good spot. You're right when it came to Oregon State. Like, Oklahoma State went on a run, and obviously Oregon State was able to hold them off, and it was poor coaching on the part of Mike Boynton with Oklahoma State down 2 and just letting his team just miss and play no offense. Very frustrated for both you and I when it came to OK State. But Loyola Chicago is better coached, and they are in a position to once again get by a Pac-12 team that has played very well, that they certainly deserve to be here as well. And it's a lot of points, 6.5, but the way that this team is playing, they can slow down Oregon State, play their game, play smart defense, and regimented offense. They're going to be in a position to once again get back to the Elite Eight. Another surprise in this tournament comes in the form of Oral Roberts. 15 team beat up Ohio State University and then came back into the same to Florida 2 days later. I watched a lot of this game, and looking into it, right, you have the highest scorer in the land on Oral Roberts, a team that is a very good 3-point shooting team as well. They don't play much defense, and you saw that against Florida, where Florida was really being able to do whatever they wanted. And then they would just turn the ball over carelessly, and Oral Roberts made them pay. They can do that again, which is why this is an intriguing bet.
Yeah, it's super intriguing, and I don't think that Oral Roberts can win this game, right? I think that the Cinderella story does probably end here. Arkansas is Ken Palm's number 15 team. Oral Roberts is Ken Palm's 128th team. But I do really like Oral Roberts to cover here. It's gotten to 11.5 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. And, what's basically the one thing we say about March that can cause upsets and can cause games to be closer? If the underdog teams have great guard play and they don't have to be fighting to get shots off, because that's what you see with teams in March, is they just do not have a cogent offensive plan that allows them to consistently get shots off. That leads to turnovers. Turnovers lead to easy points for the opposing team, so on and so forth. But with Obanor and Asmus, Oral Roberts can just get shots off pretty much every time down the floor. They're not always great shots. They're not always going to go in, obviously. But I think 11.5 is a really big number. Even if Arkansas gets to 85, I think that's going to be well in the range for Oral Roberts to cover. So I'm not taking Oral Roberts on the money line, but I am taking them to cover here at 11.5.
They've hung in there with those excellent guards against Ohio State, getting past them and doing the same to Florida. 2 games where they probably shouldn't have won or shouldn't be there, but the guard play got them there. And again, that 3-point shooting was good enough. I'm not saying they're going to win outright, but against Arkansas, we could see another battle. They've already beaten one SEC team. We see if they can do it again here coming up this weekend. And finally, this one hurts to talk about, Davis. That's the Alabama Crimson Tide. Crimson Tide are favored here in this one, number 2 seed in their region. They are 5.5-point favorites. I watched them up close last night against Maryland, and it was just a disaster, man. They played just bombs away on offense, and you knew they would. They're not a very big team, but if they make their shots and just you control that pace going downhill, they are going to be very, very tough for anybody to beat. And that's what they did certainly against Maryland. After struggling in that opening half against Iona, they came out really cold and then got their groove back in the second half. Against Maryland, at no point were they cold. It was never a game. And if they shoot like this, it's going to be a hard time for any team to knock them out.
Yeah, Alabama is just a fearsome defense. They are 3rd in the country in adjusted defensive efficiency. So pretty much going into every game against Alabama, one, they're like 8 deep with athletes. They can run out 5 guys. I said the other day on In-Game Live, I was like, it's like, it's like the Warriors, right? Where they have 5 guys who are all the same height and pretty much all the same athletic intensity. They're just going to make it miserable on you to score. So in games where they're actually hitting shots and they're not turning the ball over and not playing sloppy on offense, it's just like, what can you do? And I actually think that if I was going to bet one future right now, I would not bet Gonzaga. I think Alabama would be the team that would give Gonzaga a lot of trouble in that potential Final Four matchup because that defense is just so good. I believe in them here. Again, 5.5 points. We're trending more towards a spot where that's a more reasonable line. You're not that worried about the backdoor at 5.5. I mean, maybe you just take the money line minus 235 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Pretty reasonable, but I am a big Alabama backer, taking them to go deep in all my brackets, bet on them on the money line in all these games. And I think that they can handle business here against UCLA. But then again, I mean, these Pac-12 teams, are they the conference of champions? Are they the best college basketball conference ever? Who could say at this point?
The Pac-12 has just been dominant during this postseason run with Oregon State and UCLA and USC and Oregon all in the Sweet 16, and some of them will certainly make the Elite Eight. Everyone's talking about Oregon as a team that's going to give Gonzaga a lot of trouble if they meet in the Elite Eight. That will be a fun one to watch. But when it comes to the Alabama Crimson Tide, they are a dominant basketball team on both sides of the court. I really like Nate Oates as well, who's going to get himself paid even more this offseason. This Alabama team at 5.5-point favorites, well worth it here, probably against UCLA. That's going to do it for us here on the FanDuel Hurry Up. Davis, this has been a blast. Let's do it again next week.
Yeah, let's get back to it next week. We'll have more great matchups. I hope that we have Alabama going through, and it would be great. In the year of craziness, let's just get Gonzaga out of here. Let's just get them out. Let's get just nothing but upsets and pure craziness in the tournament. That's what the people want.
I don't know, man. I kind of want the undefeated team having an opportunity to do it during the COVID year, which we haven't seen in over almost close to 40 years here, the 36 years, give or take. Before I let you go, though, I do want to ask, speaking of madness, it's madness over on the golf course here this week as well. Who is your pick in the Match Play Championship?
Come on, we're taking Rory. Long golf course, difficult golf course, and Rory, he's got the mental edge because he doesn't care about anything these days. He always is, he's speaking like a Buddhist monk when he's getting asked questions by, the PGA Tour media. So I think that his mental game is in the right spot. It's time for Rory to grab a W.
Mental game strong, physical game always strong. Rory and the Tide. Those are the picks here this week from Davis Mattek. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the Hurry Up. So we'll see you then. For Davis Mattek, I'm Gregg Sussman. Have a wonderful evening.